Hey guys, Steve here for Who Took My Dice, and welcome to the first Q&A of 2021. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so I thought I'd just sit here. I'm actually painting up this happy little gaunt in the scheme of High Fleet Behemoth. But I did take a bunch of questions from you awesome people, so let's answer them while we paint. If you want to paint long, grab a model, grab a pint, a tea, a coffee, whatever you like, and let's dive into these questions. So first off, I have Jared Kindred, one of my fellow Faith and Damnation hobby group members. He asked a funny one here. He said, if time were no concern, how many geese could you train in 1 hour? The answer to that is none. None, zero. And there's a reason for that. It's not something we Canadians like to talk about. But long ago, in World War II, the Canadian military decided they would try and train geese to attack the Axis forces. They'd send them overseas. And at this point, geese, as you may know now, are vicious snake monsters that attack you viciously and honk, these evil honks of death. Before that, we were quite docile, but they began training them. But it all went wrong. We have the great geese onslaught of 1941 here in Canada. We don't like to talk about something it's been covered up. It's something you'll never hear about, but I'm telling you the truth. And the geese escaped. Many brave soldiers lost feeling in their shins and ankles after being bit so many times, and there was some psychological damage, some PTSD after all that, but the geese escaped. And Canada forbid the training of geese for that particular reason, because of this horrible event. So we don't talk about it here in Canada. It's a very private thing for us, but I thought I'd share it. The rest of the world deserves to know the truth. So the answer is zero. I couldn't. I don't want to get attacked by the evil death geese. They're evil. So very evil. All right. Sorry, I had to say that one. Zach Taylor, he is one of the guys behind Faith and Damnation. If you haven't, guys, find it on Facebook. Ask to join. It's a fantastic group, an amazing group. Really friendly, uplifting. It's a wonderful group to be part of. So he asked a whole bunch of them. First off, how did you get into the hobby? So you have to go back to 1995. And I was in the city of North Bay, which is about 4 hours north of here. Hence the name. It used to be a big military town until they closed the base there. And I was there visiting my grandparents. And we were driving through, and I saw. Now at this point, there was a comic book store. I visited there all the time. When I was there, I'd go pick up a comic book. Now across the street, just maybe not even like half a block down on the other side, was a hobby store, and I saw it there. And at this point, I had already dabbled a bit in D&D. I picked up a few pewter figures here and there and did a horrible job painting them, if I even painted them, because I wasn't there yet. And I convinced my dad to go in. We went in, and there were some guys playing a game on a table that had just a fully green top to it. I don't know what they were playing. I can't remember that. I was looking around, and I saw just this huge rack of books, massive rack, and it stood out to me was the Codex Ultramarines from the second edition of Warhammer 40,000. Had that awesome Space Marine banner bearer. He's got the laurels, this massive Ultramarines banners, Marines all around him, missile launchers. There's a whirlwind back there, Terminator, just crazy. And I went, oh my god. And I looked through it, all this fantastic fluff, these beautiful pictures, these wonderfully painted armies in there. And I said, Dad, I gotta have this. I gotta have this. And my dad let me get it. And that's how I started. That's how I got into it. I discovered it while on a trip to get comic books. I'm a huge comic book fan too, if you don't know. But yeah, so that's how that happened. That's how I got to get into the hobby. I started from there, and then that Christmas, because I asked people, no one really knew, I ended up getting Morgana Le Fay from Warhammer Fantasy Battle. It was a blister. She came with a frog. I got a couple beastmen. I got a pack of plastic Eldar Guardians, which I still have. I should show you guys that sometime. And a pack of plastic Imperial Guard Stormtroopers, the old kind. I don't have the Stormtroopers anymore, nor the Beastmen, nor Morgana Le Fay. I do have those Eldar Guardians, and that sort of was the beginning of my hobby. So great question, thanks Zach. How do you hobby now, as in what does it mean to you? To me, hobby is a great way to relax, to enjoy some quiet time, allow me to de-stress, stuff like that. It allows me to sort of center myself after a long day of work. And it's a great way to relax, dive in, listen to other people. I hobby for the enjoyment and the fun of it. Just shaking up some paint here. Fondest hobby-related memory. Ooh, that's a good one. Honestly, there's so many. I've had so many great times in the hobby over the time that I've been in it. So many different things have happened, lots of fun. See, I have to divide it up in as time as a hobbyist to time as actually working at Games Workshop, because there's different events that happened. I think my fondest memory would actually be the memory of how I got into it. I just talked about, because it sticks with me. I can still picture it in my mind. I can still picture the store. My fondest hobby memory as a Games Workshop employee would be the look on a young person's face. There was this one kid, he came in with his parents and they were completely confused. And just the look on his face when I showed him, you know, how to play the game, it was just pure joy. And that was my biggest memory, my most fondest memory as a Games Workshop employee, because he was just having the time of his life. The parents understood it too, I explained it to them, and he was just so happy. He got, I think it was, what set would it have been? I think it was Assault on Black Reach, the 5th ed set. And the dad was in on it, the mom thought it was great. He was so excited, and he came back a lot. This is one kid that came back again with his parents. They got involved, and it was just, that's my fondest memory, being able to share and see this kid, probably the same look I had on when I first dived into it. It was fantastic. What else? Are there any good friends you made through the hobby? Yes. I've made some really good friends through the hobby, some of which have come and gone as friends do, but I've made some really good friends. Definitely, especially since I started doing the channel. Mythos and Freak from Frost and Fists are definitely people I consider good friends, easy guys to talk to, always there to help out and lend an ear when it's needed. Keep you motivated, boost your self-esteem when it's a bit low. Richard from The Nerd Life, another one. You know what, I'll say Zach Taylor. There's a whole bunch of them, a bunch of you guys that have been really just amazing to me. All the guys at Faith and Damnation, they helped me through some rough times, and it was great. And I think that's the best part of the hobby, is just the ability to connect to people. I may never actually meet any of these people in real life, because they're spread all over the globe. Some in Texas, the UK, all over the place. I'll say IDICBeer as well. I'm gonna mention Nick. He's been really helpful too. He's been a good, I've had some good chats with him. But yeah, that's, I think, the number one best thing about the hobby, is the fact that you can meet people from around the world and just connect with them. It's fantastic. One more from Zach here. What are your goals for 2021, and have you achieved any of them? Yes, I have. One of my goals was to have fun. That was my number one goal. I remember made some lofty goals in 2020, and of course a lot of them never happened just because of the way the world was. So I remember 2021, I said I was gonna have fun this year. And that's definitely what I've done. I've had lots and lots of fun. Tons of fun. Just painting models, upgrading armies, adding to them, rebasing stuff. It's been a lot of fun, and the channel's a lot more fun now that I've got on this on my new schedule of Mondays. As it gives me a timeline. It gives me time to do what I need to do. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, I've definitely hit my main goals. Have fun. That was goal number one. So thank you, Zach, for those. Those are fantastic. I'll pull up a few more here. Where are you? All right, so Big D from the Game Craft Dragon. I've watched these guys. They do some amazing live stuff, and he asked if you had to play something other than Marines, what would you play? And don't let this fool you. I'm not playing Tyranids. I'm just painting it because it's fun, which I think is number one goal. Paint something that's fun. If I had to play another army other than Marines, I'm assuming he's meaning straight and 40k, just because it's Marines. I'd have to say Tau, but not the Tau, you know what I mean? Not, no. I would love to build, and this is something that goes back to 4th edition with the Kroot Mercenary list. It's an army of just Kroot. Very hard to do right now, just because of the way the Tau Codex is. It's kind of a mess, and there's weird choices in there that I think they could have made better to allow people to have a full Kroot army. But yeah, definitely the Kroot. Obviously, it's an army that would suffer horribly right now. The Kroot would be massacred. They've got no armor. Their leadership is horrible. They don't really have anything that does any armor penetration except their Krootoks with their big guns, and they're limited. But yeah, I'd love to build like a Kroot army, full Kroot army. The mercenary list from back and forth Ed was fantastic. Lots of cool stuff, lots of cool options. They really fleshed it out. Of course, it disappeared over the fullness of time, and the Kroot just aren't really good right now, but that would be definitely the army I'd love to build, just a full Kroot army. So thank you, Big D. That was an awesome question. I'm going to go to another one here. Another bunch of questions. And of course, last but definitely not least in this, Wolf Brother Mythos. You always come through me, buddy, so thank you very much. He asked me a whole bunch of questions. So what draws you to the Ultramarines? That's a loaded question, my friend. To be honest, they just seemed like a really cool army at first. The color scheme was awesome, but there's something about the nobility of them. These heroes that fight on, and that's been the trend with them for a very long time, is these warriors that are just keep fighting no matter what. It's what drew me to them. This nobility, this Roman, which I love Roman history as well. There was this Roman nobility to them. These great warriors that will fight on till the very end, regardless of what's put in front of them. It was just something that drew me to them. Again, they were back in second ed. They were also kind of comic bookish as well, just with the really bright colors. And of course, I'm a big fan of heroes like Spider-Man and Captain America. All these noble warriors doing what they had to, going up against great odds and somehow coming out on top. It drew me to them. I loved it. What was your favorite memory working at Games Workshop? We kind of answered that already, but there was another one. Actually, yeah, we already answered that one kind of. That memory of helping that kid just fully immerse himself in the hobby, and the fact his parents were on board. Because we had some parents that just didn't get it. We had what we called the Swarovski parents, which was hilarious. For those of you who don't know, Swarovski was a store. I don't know if it's still around anymore. It used to be in the mall that I worked in, where they sold glass figurines of all sorts of stuff, animals, buildings, characters, like licensed characters like Disney and all that. And the Swarovski parent would spend hundreds of dollars on these crystal or glass figurines just to put them in a shelving unit, like in a display case, to look at once in a while. But they couldn't shell out, $60-70 at the time for a set for their kid to make them happy. So we always kind of like, oh, there goes our Swarovski parent. Especially if you actually saw them at the Swarovski store. So, but these parents knew it. They got ahead. Their heads were wrapped around. They knew the kid was going to enjoy this, and I hope he's still doing today. I don't know. What is your favorite Warhammer story, novel, codex, lore, etc.? Oh, my favorite Warhammer story. Oh, there's so many of them. Oh man, there's so many. I love the Horus Heresy series. That is a fantastic series. It's so many twists and turns and cool things that as they fleshed out the series. Whether it was Lady Eisenstein was good. Any of them, like they're just amazing. There's so many lines, so many tricks, little hints and twists that they put in as they've fleshed it out. I think my favorite bit of lore though would be the Uriel Ventress books. Again, Ultramarines, but fantastic story. Like the Nightbringer, or the first novel where he's face to face with the Nightbringer. Obviously, it's written before the great retcon that the Necrons through, but he's, a Marine face to face with basically a god. It's just stuff like that was cool. I think that's probably my favorite, is Uriel Ventress stuff. It's a great series. If you haven't read it, please. There's omnibuses for him now. They have new ones out where he's now gone Primaris, obviously, with the rest of them. Really, really cool stuff. That's probably my favorite. There's also there's always been little stories here and there. One from the third Ed Necron Codex. There was a really cool story in there where Abaddon the Spoiler is in his inner chambers in front of some sort of portal that allows him to summon demons, and he's got Draconian in one hand, and in the Talons of Horus he's got a space wolf. And he just slams the sword and rips it through and jabs it into this hole, and a demon comes up and he says, "Show me what's on Mars." Obviously referring to the dragon, the void dragon on Mars, that we all know about now. Is still sort of hinted at then. And the scene shifts to outside, and there's two of his chosen bodyguards there, and obviously the demon tells them something, you don't know what it is, but he starts laughing, and it startles them. They both unsheath their lightning claws. They're startled, like, that's Abaddon laughing, what the hell? So that was really, really cool. That's probably one of my other favorite pieces of fluff. When you play Warhammer, how do you like your battle plans? Up close with melee brutality, range with cleansing firepower? That's a good question. I'm an Ultramarine player, so I use both. I have units. I've always had units that I mean, Space Marines were always good at everything. Now they're even better. Like, Space Marines are spoiled. But whenever I play a game, I try and have something for everything. I'll have Devastator squads. I'll have tactical squads. I've got my Assault Intercessors now. I've got Dreadnoughts, the whole shebang. My Tyrannic War Veterans, which I love. I always try and keep an eye out on the objective, what I need to do to get that objective, whether it's the secondary ones or the primaries. And I try and evolve as the battle goes on, right? That's why I like things like tactical squads, where I have some melee, I have some special weapons, I have heavy weapons. It's why I like my Devastator squad full of heavy bolters, because I can chew through stuff with those. I love having the Assault Intercessors, even though I haven't used them in battle, but they are going to be nasty in battle. Oh, they're going to kick butt. So I like to have a nice mix. Keep it kind of even down the middle. That way I can shift as the battle shifts. That's what Ultramarines do. Tell us about the best game you ever played. Okay, so for this I gotta go back to when I was working at Games Workshop, and there's a couple. There's technically 3, but I only really count 2 because one had a less than wonderful ending after the game was over. So the first, it was kind of a series of games. So the first one was a game with this customer he had, and this was during a customer, like a staff challenge. You got to challenge the staff to a game, and I toot my own horn, and I was very proud of this. I had 2 days worth of gaming because people wanted to play with me, because I guess it was, and it sounds kind of egotistical, but I don't care. I was good at my job. I was really good at getting people excited because I'm excited about it. And so I had 2 days and played him the first day. It was his orcs versus my Ultramarines. And we had so much fun. Things were blowing up, things were dying, and I lost by a tank. And all was left on the battlefield was one of his tanks, his injured war boss, and a knob. And I had a veteran sergeant from a tactical squad. That was it. And he won because he had that tank. The war boss was out of any sort of scoring anything. This is way back in 4th or 5th. Yeah. The next day we played a game again, and it was orcs versus my Ultramarines, and I won by a Devastator squad. Basically, we had wiped our armies that we always did. That was so much fun. Again, things exploding, things dying, and it came down to his squad of orc boys and my Devastator squad, and I thought it was done because he was going to charge through train. I had every expectation his boys would make it. He was going to hack my Marines to pieces. Done. But he failed, and I had 12 shots with heavy bolters to wind the squad down enough that I had to break it. I had to get it below half strength to break it, and I did it by 1 orc. And so his orcs fled, done, and I won by a Devastator squad. And those were my favorite games of all time, just because we had so much fun, and it just a wild, crazy time. Win or lose, they were just really fun games. That third one, it was one of my favorites, but I don't really like to count it because of what happened afterwards. So this was another staff challenge day. This was probably months later, and we had made it short. It was a 45-minute game. Closest to the central objective wins, period. That's it. And I took my Ultramarines. As always, I had 2 tactical squads, small, like min-max sort of thing. So if you don't know what that means, it means you have 5 Marines, and you have a heavy weapon, a special weapon, and your sergeant's got whatever you want to give your sergeant. I had a 5-man scout squad with sniper rifles. I had a chaplain, and I had my Tyrannic War veterans. At this point, it's the 5th ed, so they were just veterans at this point. And I was up against this guy. He had a Demon Prince, a squad of Chaos Space Marines, and a Defiler. And I played the game perfectly. I ignored his Defiler because he was using it as artillery and he was missing all the time. I focused all my firepower on the Chaos Space Marine squad and chased them off the board. They broke, and I started focusing on his Demon Prince. Now, in typical Demon Prince fashion, he ripped through my chaplain and the 2 squads, but he kept taking wounds from these sniper rifles. They were having the easiest time hurting him, and I was stripping off wounds. And meanwhile, my veterans were sort of sneaking up the other side of the board, taking pot shots while they were moving towards the objective, which at this point was a big Baneblade. This is before they became part of the game. They were strictly for Apocalypse at this point. And I got them on top of it, and he decided to charge in. Now his Demon Prince only had 1 wound left, which was like I'd stripped him down with sniper rifles, based used to roll like lots of 6s, and just one piece by piece, him failing invulnerable saves. And he charged in. Now this Baneblade of him counted as terrain. We count that way, so I get to go first. So I only have, so many attacks to try and I have to like hit on 6s and wound on 6s. No power weapons, and I managed to hit hit on a 6 and wound on a 6. And I was like, okay, he's gonna make this armor save, and he's gonna wipe the squad out. It's the big one, the giant power sword, the demon weapon. He's just gonna rip him apart, and he failed his armor save. Demon Prince dead. That was at the end of the game. I had a scout squad left, and I had these 5 veterans left, and that was it. Sitting right on top of the objective, I win. So I'm really, really happy. Sounds like a great game. What happened after? The minute it was done, I said, shake hands, good game, and I was expecting him to say, good game, man, good game. The first words of his mouth is, you cheated. And it just downhill from there. You cheated. I killed more guys, so I should win. I'm like, well, the objective was to take the center of the table. Like the objective. No, man, I should have won. You cheated. Like, how did I cheat? Please tell me how I cheated. I didn't do anything wrong. Everything's above board. I work here. I'm not going to cheat. I work here. I know the rules. I have to uphold those rules because I work here. So it's one of my favorite games, but afterwards it's just so disappointing that this guy, I mean, and people were building armies to beat us. That's why I took a Demon Prince and a Defiler. Like, I ignored the Defiler the entire game. It sat at the back, lobbing shells, missing everything the entire time. I think in the last turn he forgot to use it because he was so intent on his Demon Prince chowing down on my my Ultramarine veterans. So yeah, that one of my best, but also afterwards was just such a buzz killer. But yeah, that's the end of the questions. Thank you for those amazing questions, Mythos. Yeah, so I'm gonna leave it there, guys. It was a lot of fun. I did a little bit painting on this guy. I'm really happy with him so far. I'm not gonna be actually playing Tyranids, but it'd be nice to actually, this is actually one of the ones from Battle for McCraig, the box sets, like the last one I have left, because I cut up the other ones when I made Tyranid War Veterans when they first came out. I sold them off, gave them away, it doesn't matter. But I'm gonna finish this guy up. And as always, guys, thank you very much for sitting through this. I really appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe, and please go check out Faith and Damnation. Please go check out the IDICBeer, Unification group. Lots of cool stuff there. Lots of really nice people. Great places to hang out and showcase your stuff and meet new people. So always, guys, thank you very much. Keep rolling those dice. We'll see you later.